AAAS annual meeting, SciMike Stage, supported by the George Washington University. This is being presented in person here in Phoenix, and it's streaming online as well on the AAAS annual meeting YouTube page. I am your host, Jessica Hubbard. Typically, I am the social media strategist at Science Magazine, but during the annual meeting, I've been having a lineup of interviews here on the SciMike stage, introducing you to folks who are talking about their sessions and their research. And so we're going to jump right in since we are booked and busy here today with a ton of interviews until 12:15. So let's jump right in with CWE, a staff engineer at Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory. Welcome to the SciMike stage.
Thank you, everyone. It's my first time here, actually.
No way.
I'm really honored to be on the stage today, and hopefully I can share some of my stories and my thoughts with you guys. Thank you.
Wonderful. So let's jump right in. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so my name is Congwang. I'm a staff engineer from Lawrence Livermore National Lab. I usually go by CW, so it's easier for people to call me. My background is in materials engineering, being a material engineer since college, and most of the research I've been working on is this materials called microcapsules or microencapsulations. I really love it. We can use it on many different applications, and would love to share with you guys more. The other things I've been working on recently and for the past close to a decade is actually working on scale-up lab technologies and trying to see how we can better commercialize technologies from bench scale to actual industrial level. Thank you.
And will you be discussing that a little bit at your session that is later today, correct?
Exactly, yes. So today at 4 p.m., we have a panel discussion, and I'll be sharing more details and stories and what we have learned from the journey. And I will be also sharing about a protocol that we developed at Lawrence Livermore to really see how you can understand the technology from even early stage technology in science, and how you can figure out the critical path to commercialize. Yeah.
So let's take a step back and talk about your work in relation to you as a person. So what excites you about the work that you do, or what motivates you to have chosen the path that you have?
Definitely. So I think for me, ever since my first research project when I was an undergraduate student, I really enjoyed working with technology and the researches that can have a impact on our daily lives. So my first project was working on anti-corrosion coating on wheels for motorcycles.
No way.
Yeah, and then my second project was working on coatings on screws to fix the teeth. And so that just carries on as all the projects I have. And now I'm working on a project that helps to improve indoor air qualities and save energies too. So many things like that, and it really excites me because I have 3 kids. I would love them to go talk to their friends and say, hey, my dad worked on this, my dad worked on that. I was like, that would be great,
That's so cool.
Yeah.
And speaking of kind of this idea of aspirations, what would you say to someone who sees those things and like, wow, how is that made? That seems cool. How would they get into a similar kind of field of work?
Yeah. Obviously, lots of people had a huge impact on my life, on my career. And I was recently talking to my colleague, and it seems like both of us actually had the same type of person that impacted life, and was my dad. So my dad is a polymer scientist. When I was a kid, he was actually the head of a local laboratory, working on those and leading the team to work on that. So when I was even little, he will actually get me those like pH test strips and say, "Go CW, go try it out." Obviously, there's certain liquids you don't want to dip it in, right? We know what's gonna go, all right. But it's like, whatever you find outside nearby or in your environment, go dip it in and see what's happening and go figure out what's going on. So I will actually take that pH test strip and go around, dip in the puddle on the road, right? Dip in the river, put it in my mouth too, right? Which was probably not the proper way to do it, but
try this at home, right?
Yeah, don't try this at home, but have that, he really encouraged my enthusiasm and interest to explore, and that just carries on. And I guess that helped to shape what I am today.
so we have this kind of familial connection to mentorship. Has there been, or what do you perceive to be the role that mentorship plays in your field specifically?
Definitely. I think mentorship is really important. I had great mentors when I was growing up. And ever since I joined Lawrence Livermore National Lab, I had an opportunity to host many students every summer. One of the things I like to work with my students, the interns that are coming in, is really to figure out what they want to do and what really interests them. And take an example here. For example, last summer, I had this wonderful student from Cornell. I had a project in mind for her. And I look at her resume, I know she's going to do well on that. But then talking to her, realizing that I can change the project to really better fit her interests. So she's a polymer scientist, but she really, and she spent most of the time, in front of computers for her research and for her studies. And she told me that she wants to be able to run more instruments. I was like, okay, you asked for it, right? So I put her in touch with many people so she can run these different characterization techniques and so on. And I can see that her motivation is really sky high. She was spending lots of time in the lab doing extra work. At the end of her internship, she gave me a internship report, a summary, 70 pages. 70 pages. That's how much work she has done. She's being able to understand and get used to over 10 different techniques.
Oh, wow.
And that's what I really want to get from the mentorship. Really is, for the students, if you have an interest, you can really do a lot of good things. I don't really want to force them into anything they don't like.
Right.
Fortunately, most of my students like the topic they got, but now that I really get to it, I know that motivation is really important. And that's what happened to me too, And I'm pretty sure for most of the people here as well. If you have a good motivation, if you really like it, it doesn't matter I work 8 hours a day or not, right? I just, spend my time on that and keep thinking about it if I'm off work too. Yeah.
And speaking kind of along the same themes of mentorship, has there been any piece of advice that you've received that has stayed with you as you've done your work?
Through mentorship or
Through just, and it can be in general too, yeah.
Gotcha. I would say one thing that was very, a little bit surprised to me when I started at Lawrence Livermore National Lab is, so I was a lab researcher, do all my work on the bench, and, developing new materials or technologies. And then when I joined Lawrence Livermore National Lab 10 years ago, actually, I joined the lab in 2015, so a little bit over 10 years now. We had the opportunity to get into commercialization and look for applications, which I mentioned earlier. And that was a total new world to me. Even though I've been very interested in working on technologies that can be practical and impacts our daily lives, I didn't have experience talking to people, outside the research field. And we're talking about, business people, right? Or people that runs factories and hospitals and even breweries too. So all kind of different people.
Right.
So it was very surprising. And then my industrial mentor, so he's a serial entrepreneur, is like, just go talk to the people. And the more you talk to those people, the better you understand, and the more information you will actually get out of it. So that was really important. And I use that, all the time, and found that's really helpful for me to, sometimes when you're in the researcher working in the lab, you tend to just focus on the little area you have or the topic you have. But then talking to people really find out the needs or the demands and the thoughts from the other side of the world. And then you can connect, right? And actually, speaking of that, that's actually the centerpiece of my talk later on today too. So
nice.
to show how to build a bridge.
I want to pivot the interview to what I call the final phase of the interview. We are scientists, but we also do things outside of our work, right? And so I wanted to ask you, what are you reading right now?
So a little bit ashamed to say that I don't read books anymore now. Sorry. I used to read a lot. But I'm more of a movie person now, watching with my kids.
Oh, nice.
It's hard to read books with kids together, I used to read books for my kids, and then I fell asleep, and they were like, "Daddy fell asleep." I'm the one supposed to fall asleep. But also, when I want to have some relatively quiet time,
Right.
I actually like to play board games with my kids. We have a lot of board games collected at home. We usually play a new game or an old game with the new rules every week.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, so
Do you have a favorite?
we have a lot of favorites. One of my favorite was Scrabble. I know it's really old and really.
Still fun.
I used to play Scrabble until I fell asleep myself, like in the middle of that, and like, make a really big word, and I fell asleep. But now I'm playing this game called Cathedral with my kids. It has some geometry and logistics, guessing, the risk taking, all of that in there. It's just really fun. My kids used to lose at games. They complain about it, and then now they win me. They can win easily, and I feel like I need to keep up. To the competition.
Are there any final thoughts that you would like to leave listeners here in Phoenix or anyone tuning in online?
Yeah, I think, there's definitely a lot of things that you hear a lot from the other speakers today, too. One thing that I learned for the past 10 years is just really, as a researcher, and I mentioned this earlier, as a researcher, don't just, obviously you want to focus on your research and do well on that, but don't just limit yourself to that. It's also very important to actually get outside your comfort zone and go network with people, learn from others, hear from others' perspectives, and it will help your research and help your direction. And obviously, social networking is very important as you move on in your career too. And then there are more people senior, a lot of people here more senior than me, and they can probably share the same opinion on that too. So that would be what I say for young researchers out there. I was fortunate that I got kind of pushed in that direction, but now thinking back, it would be better if I actually, was more self-motivated and someone told me that this is what you should do, and I started earlier with that. So, yeah, don't wait on that.
Great advice to end the interview with. I really appreciate you joining me on the SciMic stage today. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.